Open theism or dynamic omniscience is nothing I never saw myself becoming or even considering because it was always painted in a bad light until I decided to listen to the arguments myself. One biblical passage that really pushed me to thinking that this could be the best plausible view of God is Exodus 32. If you're not familiar with this story, this is the story of the golden calf where Moses went on a mountain to receive the commands. In that time, the Israelites were wondering what was taking so long, so they decided to make a golden calf, and by declaring that this is the God that brought them out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord's wrath began to burn hot against them. So let's read the narrative starting in Exodus chapter 32, verse 7. It says, "And the Lord said to Moses, Go down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt has corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molded calf and worshipped it and sanctified to it, and said, This is your God, O Israel, and brought you out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said to Moses, I have seen this people, and indeed is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, that I may consume them, and I make of you a great nation." And now let's see Moses' response to God. Continuing, "Then Moses pleaded with the Lord his God and said, Lord, why does your wrath burn hot against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt, with great power and with a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians speak and say, He brought them out to harm them, to kill them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath, and relent from the harm to your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by your own self, and said to them, I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken I give to your descendants, and they shall inherit it forever." So the Lord relented from the harm which he had said he would do to his people. So those who hold to the classical theism, especially immutability, they would be firm on their stance that God cannot change. We see clearly that Moses changes God's mind, that God ends up relenting of the disaster that he said he would bring upon his people. And I don't think I've heard a good response coming from classical theism. If God told Moses that he would destroy the people without actually intending to destroy them, wouldn't that make God a liar? In this story, it looked like we're seeing the internal view of what's going on in the mind of God. And with that being said, this is not an in-depth analysis of open theism, but it's something or a passage that I have been reading and that spoke to me and stood out to me, that dynamic omniscience or open theism is most likely the correct view of God.